Hour here, Executive Director of the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce, with special guest Allison William, Executive Service Director of the City of Wenatchee, coming to you live to talk a little bit about housing in the Wenatchee area, specifically the City of Wenatchee. So Allison, last summer the City of Wenatchee completed a housing study. Right. What did we learn?
So it was a really interesting process. First of all, it was done on behalf of the region. These days, these issues we're recognizing are not just a City of Wenatchee issue, but they're a regional issue. And so on behalf of the federally designated urban area, which is an area from Rock Island to Monitor, we had an analysis done of our housing issue. And what we realized is we really do have a housing crisis. Number one, our vacancy rate in our rental stock is less than 1%. Typically this means that people are double housed. And so, for example, in the City of Wenatchee, when the Riverside 9 apartment complex was built, 312 new units, there was an assumption that the market would be flooded. What happened is that project was leased up before it was built, and we still have less than a 1% vacancy rate. So it shows the pent-up demand here in the valley, and also what it's doing for us is it's really giving us a workforce crisis. We have good jobs in this area. We have planners, engineers, teachers, nurses. Many of these entities are having a hard time if they need to move somebody to the area because of the availability of housing stock. So it's not low-income housing stock necessarily. These are workforce jobs that we need to make our community work. And so what the housing study did for us is it quantified the issue. First of all, what was really great for me is learning about this term called down renting. So essentially in our market, because we have so many units on the lower end, those who could perhaps afford more are renting those units. And if we had more units at a market rate in the middle of the range, it would free up the units on the lower end. And so therefore it would help our affordable housing crisis that we know we have a need for housing on the lower end. The other thing, aside from the down renting that it showed us, was the mismatch in our housing market.
Mismatch.
So we have a significant housing stock that's 3-bedroom and up. And when you look at the demographics of the people who live here and the people who are move here, 1- and 2-person households. Okay. And so we are actually short in that area where we have units available for 1- and 2-person households.
Oh, okay.
And what you see being built is predominantly more suburban, 3-bedroom and up. And so from the City of Wenatchee's perspective, this encouraged us to work even harder on urban level housing options.
So what are some of the ways the city's already taken action to help incentivize maybe or create growth in housing?
So the city has a couple of programs. One of those is a program that's been available on the state level for a long time. It's called the Multifamily Housing Tax Exemption Program, and it gives you either an 8 or a 12-year abatement on property taxes related to putting housing into place. The year differential is based on the amount of affordable units you put in. Okay. And so that was tied exclusively to the downtown area, and we decided to expand that. The City Council took action to expand that exemption to the city limits.
Wow.
So now if somebody comes in with a multifamily housing complex and meets the criteria, that program could be available to them.
That's great.
That is a great opportunity. The other thing the city has done is we've looked at every piece of surplus property we may have and have looked at that as could that be a place for housing to happen. And we have a number of interested parties who would like to build on some of our properties, call them downtown parking lots or other places. So we're working there. We're also working because it is expensive to build in our valley. And the cost to build and the rents that can be paid because of our median income, there is a mismatch there. Okay. So the other thing that we're doing is we're working with the Association of Washington Cities on a new piece of legislation. It's part of their housing omnibus bill that will look at a number of areas where they could provide more incentive The one that we have proposed would be similar to what we did on the waterfront with the local revitalization financing program. It provides a sales tax payback to the city for qualified investments that happened on the waterfront. So we're looking at doing that on a one-time basis for housing projects.
Great.
A big housing project. So for example, Riverside 9 was about a $26 million project. The one-time sales tax benefit of that, if this bill were to pass, could be returned to the city, and the city could use those funds to help offset the cost of the infrastructure to put the project into place.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Awesome update from Allison Williams, Executive Service Director of City of Wenatchee on housing. Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.